Hi everyone. Welcome back to Jeremy's game design coaching session. And today we have Leon, who have this game from a game jam that he just had called Mad Hatter's Cookie Party. So Leon, hi. If you don't mind, maybe just a short introduction about yourself, and then maybe sort of like inspiration for the game. Just some quick introduction so that the audience kind of know what we're talking about today. And then I'll just play the footage of the game that you shared with me so that we all know what we're talking about today, lah. All right. Yeah. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm
Yeah.
Leon. Actually, I'm an engineer. It's not really educated as a game designer or programmer. So I've been doing a lot of game jams since 2022, on and off. So this game, the Mad Hatter's Cookie Party, is actually for game jam for Bracky's Game Jam on 2025 with the theme of Receipt for the Biscuit.
Mhm.
So the original idea for this game that comes to my mind, first thing I want to do a card game, and Exploding Kittens come to my mind, and also due to Exploding Kitten is usually played in a multiplayer survival mode. So to twist it into a single player, I put in the inspiration from Blatro, so the high score, getting buff and stuff,
Mm,
in order to advance to next levels and more bonus here and there.
mm,
Yeah, so that's the basic idea of it.
mm. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so as you can see the footage here, you can just sort of see like, we're picking some of the perks right now. And then of course, early on you saw like there's a bunch of like, this card shuffling and then sort of you sort of pick the kind of cards that you want to go and cards from the deck. And then trying to get the high score. Yeah, so basically we're just trying to avoid the bombs, right? Like Exploding Kitten is kind of like the kind of game, right? You're drawing from the deck, and there's a bomb somewhere. Just kind of everyone's kind of like on their toes just to see like, oh, who's gonna get the bomb, and if let's say somebody got the bomb, how do we stop that? How to stop the player from winning, lah? That's more or less the inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So because you're not like game design, sorry, not game development background, but you're sort of like engineering background. What makes you sort of like want to explore or transition to game development? Maybe you can just share that with me a bit.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah, sure. So I've been starting to plays a lot of games
Mhm.
during my university phase.
Mhm.
And at the end of my bachelor degrees, I kind of touched into programming.
Mhm.
And from there onwards, when I'm pursuing my master degrees, I'm doing my research at the same time, doing a lot more programming. And I stumble upon this indie films called uh, indie games,
Mm.
if not
Mm.
mistaken.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
about a film about three game developers producing their own games by themselves or maybe by a small team. So
Mm.
they kind of inspire me to want to make my own game as well. So I've been after my master degree is completed, so I've been try ways to do make games, learn about making games,
Mm.
and to me the tiny step to actually make the own game is through game jam
Mm.
because there is a short time frame and there is a time frame that for me to actually complete the game.
Mm. Mm.
Well, the quality itself is not that good, or even the art of visuals or the audios. So those are the things that I'm lack of.
Mm.
So I think in this game it shows as well.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I think to be able to finish a game is a miracle already, lah. So don't hold yourself back in that sense. And also, some of the best games that are released in the last few years are all made from game jams.
Mm.
Like I think one of the most popular one is Peak. Peak was actually a game jam game. If you can
Oh,
believe it. So yeah, I mean, don't worry about the art, don't worry about everything. It's just more, we're all learning, right? So I think like to be able to start doing game jams, to be able to finish the product, I think that's something good already. There's always something to learn from there already. Okay.
right. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Yeah. Okay. So I guess also maybe right now what we can go through is like a little bit of maybe a little bit of like expectations. I think there's a lot of text here, but it's basically the questions that I sort of ask you lah. Yeah, because you're also doing game jams, and you're trying out your hand in game development on and off. Maybe you can share with me also. This is your like you done multiple game jams before this, right? Like so
Yes.
this is like your what, third, fourth? How many
Let
times?
me count.
Yeah.
This is my eight games.
Mm, mm, mm,
I've actually done two in physical game jam section.
mm, mm,
I
mm,
think it's on 2023.
mm,
I managed to recruit a team to help me develop a game on the
mm.
Global Game Jam 2023.
Yep.
2024, I did a physical game jam, but doing it alone again. But
Mm,
other than that, I think all of the games I make is mostly alone or with my
mm,
girlfriend helping out some art.
mm. Okay, cool. All right. I think I get the gist of your this inspiration, right? It's like a little bit of Exploding Kittens, a little bit of Balatro. I think if I have to ask you, right, what is the sort of the main like if I know it's inspired by these two games, but if you have to pick one of the main ones, right, which one would you pick? Is it more to Balatro? Or is it more to Exploding Kittens?
To be honest, I feel like this is more toward Balatro because the ultimate goal is kind of like
Mm,
getting the high score, trying to clear the
mm,
stage.
mm.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. Okay, cool. All right. I think this is good. So all these questions here is just more to help me understand where you're coming from. I'm going to go through the analysis for your game in a bit, but I do want to say that whatever goals that you have for your game, I'm not going to try to change that. I'm just giving you just based on my analysis and based on what I feel. Oh, this is the kind of direction you can go. This is the kind of like ideas you can explore. But ultimately, decision is all up to you. I'm just giving
no
you
problem.
sort of like the tools to sort of figure out like okay where can you improve lah. So some of the things might not
Align
follow
with me.
yeah might not align with your vision, but whatever vision that you decide to go for, I'll leave it up to you. But I
No
hope to
problem.
at least give you some tools to sort of like figure out
Yeah,
how
yeah.
to
So
refine that lah. Mm.
sometimes coming up with ideas is I do get blindsided sometimes. I
Mm.
do need some fresh new ideas from others' perspective as well.
Okay, all right.
One thing that I learned about is like there's no thinking outside the box. There's only making your box bigger. Learn more things to get your box bigger. That's how I visualize thinking out of the box. Is just you never see others people's toolbox actually is bigger. That's why you think someone is thinking outside their box. It's actually basically their experience. Their own toolbox is a lot bigger. That's it.
Yeah, good, very good mindset. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna start with player experience and fun. Because I think one of the questions I ask you is what kind of experience do you want the players to have? And your answer is like, oh, you want to make a fun game, right? I think one of the things that you need to consider when making a game, and this is usually one of the very first questions that people ask themselves when they make a game, is what kind of experience do you want the players to have? And fun might be something that's a little bit too broad. Okay, so I'm just gonna put these two examples here: Exploding Kittens on one end and Balatro on the other hand. And then this is the two ideas that sort of form to create this sort of game that you have right now. Okay, so what is your player experience, right? If I have to say, okay, the player experience for Exploding Kittens, what is the experience? The experience is like, the tension of drawing a bomb from a deck while you and your groups tries to sabotage each other. One of the things that drives Exploding Kitten also is because it's a multiplayer game. The social element is actually a very big part of it, and I think the game plays a lot into that. The game really sets the environment for you to to set yourself up for success, but also set your friend group for failure. So so there's a lot of sabotages. There's a lot of mind games. I think you can like I think when you defuse the bomb, you can stack the deck in a way
Yep.
to try to see like, oh, is this is the next player gonna
There's
risk?
nothing you can do
Yeah,
about
there's
it.
nothing you can do about it. Or there is, you can shuffle the deck, or you can take a peek, or you can, make sure that you have a diffuse ready so that you can stack the deck yourself. So there's a lot of nuances that comes from that. And Exploding Kittens, the experience of Exploding Kitten is that the experience of the tension of drawing a bomb, and also the experience of sabotaging your friends. So that is the experience that this game is aiming for, and the whole game supports the experience. Balatro is also a pretty unique game, but it's actually grounded in poker. And what is the experience of Balatro? Balatro allows you to build the most insane poker deck that you've ever seen in your life, by stacking your cards, creating like impossible scores. I think that's the joy of Balatro. And also the game gives you a lot of tools to help you that. They give you a lot of signpost
Yep.
jokers. They are the ones that pull you into a particular direction. What kind of deck you want to build. You want to build like a royal flush based deck. Do you want to make a deck where it's all a single number,
High score
yeah,
card.
all high score? Do you want to make all the same shape, yeah, all the same all spades or all hearts or whatever it is, that's the experience they're going for. So they're trying to say, build a poker deck that is for you to call your own based on the jokers that you have. So there's a lot of deck building strategy around that. And that's the experience. So when you make a game like Mad Hatter, right? I think you might want to figure out what is the experience, and you want to be a little bit specific about it. The drawing of the bomb from the Exploding Kitten is part of the experience, but it is reinforced by the social element. Of the social element makes that tension even higher. And if you take away that social element, the drawing of the bomb might not feel as high tension as before already. So if your game is about the tension of drawing this bomb from the deck, how do you want the other mechanics to sort of reinforce that would dictate the kind of fun. If you think I want to make a fun game, you want to reframe your
What's the definition of the fun
what is the definition of the
is
fun, correct? Yes. Of course, fun is very subjective. There are loads of like debates and books written about what is fun to players. I know a friend of mine whose fun is really defined by purely the visuals. Like this person can just look at a realistic grass in the game and just say, wow, this is fun to me. I
this is
enjoy
fun.
looking. Yeah. So fun is very subjective, right? So you want to really define what is fun for your game. One of the easiest models I can give you is you want to take a look at this model. This is a very rough framework to define whether your game is fun or not. Your game is defined by the rules, which is this box. There is theme, there's interaction, okay, and the player interacts with the rules. And within these rules, there's always decisions, there's always oppositions, and there's always a goal. Okay,
Mhm.
and now this is like I,
Oversimplify.
it is a very oversimplification, but I will go through I'll just go through lah. Like why do I feel whether your game is fun or not, and I'm gonna refer to this model a lot back and forth, just so that we sort of understand in terms of where I'm coming from lah, and then how do we look at another game to see is this game fun? How do we compare it against your the game that you made? All right.
Mhm.
So game mechanics are actually part of a system. So no game mechanic, one single game mechanic exists on its own. If you take the bomb drawing mechanic from Exploding Kittens, you're not just taking that, you see. When you take that mechanic out of the game, you're also kind of pulling the strings of like, the social element, the diffusing mechanics. I think there's a mechanic where if you have two of the same type of cards, you can sort of like,
Yeah.
you can do an action or something like that. So you're
Yeah.
also pulling all of that because all of those mechanics support that pulling the bomb from the deck. So if you just
Mhm.
take that element, you are indirectly severing it from those other mechanics. So when you take a mechanic from a game, you have to understand what are you taking and also what you're giving up, so that you don't lose out the fun that comes from it. I'm just going to go through some of the games, some of the mechanics that you have, right? Okay, so this is the typical scene of your game, right? There's 4 decks,
Mhm.
and then you see like these numbers and you see these scores. All right. Now, one of the things in this model is decisions. Arguably, a fun game comes with a lot of very meaningful decisions, very interesting decisions. Exploding Kittens have that. Balatro have that. So what about your game? What is the decision making process of your game? So now if I look at these 2 decks, right, these 2 decks next to
Mhm.
each other, now if I were to compare what is the best deck to draw from, which is
On the left.
yeah, and the reason why the bomb chance is low, the score is very high,
Yeah.
and there's no contest, there's zero argument about this one, right? Like the best
Mhm.
decision is the left one. So when your game has 2 different decisions, you have to weigh them one another, because if one decision always wins, the decision becomes less meaningful, and even though your game technically has decision, it's not a real decision. You,
Mhm.
you get what I mean? So you have to
Yeah.
be sort of careful with this in terms of that. Okay. So one of the things also there is in terms of your game is that because there is no limit to how many cards I can take,
Mhm.
statistically, the best way to win this game is to just maximize the turn as much as possible. That means, right, I just draw as many as possible from the deck, because to hit the target score, it's pretty safe to do that. And once I hit it, I'm done. I can just submit and I'm done. So now your turns becomes a little bit less meaningful, because it diminishes the decision of should I hold the score I have now and then try to draw from the next turn.
Mm.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. When I end the turn, right? Like if I bank it in without getting the high score, does the deck change? Does it reset or anything like that?
So it resets to
Mm.
whatever buff you have. Like if you
Ah,
add a new cast, you just reset back to that. Mhm.
Yep. So I think so there is that mechanic, but it feels like I don't really need it. In terms of like, if I can look at the numbers, I can just kind of say, yeah, I think I can hit the target score if I just draw like 2 more
Mhm.
cards. So the turns becomes less diminished. It's like the decision becomes less and less meaningful to like add another turn. Last thing is that, so these are the power ups. So I'll just look at these 3 choices that I'm given at some point in this game, right? Like the first one, increase maximum risk multiplier by 2, I might not be very privy to the min maxing this game, right? But when I look at this, it's like, well, there's no downside to picking this, right? Because
Yeah.
so there's zero downside. It's like when I pick this one, it doesn't change any decision because it just increases the score multiplier no matter what.
Mm,
It's all upside. There's no downside to this.
mhm,
Okay, so adding one explosive biscuit to a deck gains a 0.25 multiplier from that deck. So then I have to weigh, is 0.25 multiplier, if I hit the bomb, I lost the turn, so it's
mhm,
gone. So then I have to weigh, is it worth losing the game, increasing my chance of losing the game by 8? Is it worth losing my game for 8% for 0.25 multiplier? Is it worth it? So then it becomes like, maybe not so much, because like the comparison between the two is a little bit too risky. And also adding the turns, right? Because turns has no limit, it makes it feel like I feel like having 3 turns, 4 turns, or 5 turns don't really feel like I'm giving up much, by picking this one.
mhm, mhm,
So when I see all these three, right, it makes it feel like, when I pick this three, it doesn't really change the way I play the game. It doesn't really change the way
mhm,
I adapt my strategy in that sense. I
mm,
know one of the strategies that you and your playtesters sort of develop is to stack one deck really highly, like
yeah.
stack on the score. So that's one of the ways that happens. So then that also diminishes the options of the other decks, right? So then if you
Yep.
stack one deck, the other X becomes obsolete. Then therefore the decision making is a little bit less.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah. So one rule of thumb I can give you is that whenever you have decisions in the game, you want to make sure that they sort of cost something, like Balatro has this. Balatro, whenever you make a decision to pick a choice, you are not just picking that choice, you're also giving up other options. Okay, like for example, right, if a joker that rewards you for getting straights, right, that means you're
mhm,
losing out on future jokers that might give you, more scores on doubling or tripling. So it dilutes the joker pool in the future by picking one choice. Like your
mhm.
options of getting the specific jokers that you want becomes like a little bit more narrow in that
They no
sense. Yeah,
longer
yeah,
synergize.
yeah. They no longer synergize. So then it's sort of like it's like a branch. It's like when I go
Mhm,
one path, right, there are a lot of other jokers that don't that they're not they're just not viable anymore, correct?
mhm,
Yeah, so you're
mhm,
giving things up. So that's why Balatro has this it makes it, because it feels right whenever I make a decision in Balatro, it's an important decision. Maybe not all are important, but a lot of the big decisions are like as you make more and more, you start to feel like, wow, I like some of these jokers really, I don't think I can take anymore because it just doesn't fit into my strategy. Yeah.
mhm,
So Balatro, ultimately, the more you play, the more it funnels you into a particular strategy as you make more
mhm,
decisions, because you're discarding other options, but you're now funneling yourself into one major strategy, and you're hoping that in the future, the more cards you draw, the more options you have, it fits into your strategy. That because like it's becomes risky and risky, right? Yeah.
mhm,
So the more linear your deck, the less options you have in the future. One thing about this game also, the game forces you to do that, because as the game gets harder and harder, the scores are just so insane that if you don't craft
mhm,
these
mhm,
insane linear strategies, you will never win. Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
So therefore, like you see, right, the strategy is sort of building, and there are multiple paths. You can build multiple ways. You can even
mhm,
like target yourself. You know what? This time we're gonna make this particular deck. So I'm kind
mm,
of like
mm. Kind
finding
of
the yeah finding
let
that
the
joker, right?
player experience different strategy into winning the game.
Yes, 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 yes. Yep. So I think that's one thing Balatro did very well, and also, like if you were to compare, this is the kind of decisions that you want to aim for. That
Mhm,
it always costs something. Your decision, your if you give two decisions, picking one means you're giving up with the other. Because right now it feels like I'm not really giving up much for making any of these
mm.
choices. Yeah,
That's
even
true. That's true.
even in rogue, I think if you don't compare to Balatro, you compare to other roguelikes as well. If you play also
Mhm.
roguelikes, right, they usually try to get you to go for a certain build,
Funnel
right?
to one.
Like a
Yes.
like a particular build, or you want to make a fire build, you want to make a poison build, you want to make like a melee build. When you make these
Mhm.
choices, you are giving up other builds to make your build more consistent.
Viable.
Yeah, more viable.
Mhm,
Yep. Yeah, so that's one thing that you have to think about. So I think the other thing also I would say, right, yeah, oops. The other thing I would say also, I think theming also helps. Okay, so you might not find this important, but I feel like this is something that people latch on to it, whether they are aware of it or not. Theming also helps the players to understand the rules, and also to help them get
yeah.
immersed with the game. Like for example, exploding kittens, it might sound like a random, like choice, right?
Name.
Yeah, yeah, it's very random. But if you look at cats, they like maybe not all cats, but if you tend to associate cats with like to scratch things,
Chaos.
chaos and everything, right? So the idea of a cat fiddling with a bomb is a very funny idea, and it's not very far away from believability. It's something that is
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm,
something that's like it could happen, right? If you have a bomb lying around, you don't want your cats
mm-hmm,
to like messing around. And if you look at the theming of the diffusing also themes around distracting the cat. The diffusing is like use the laser pointer so that you distract the cat away. You give them catnip so that they eat the catnip. Your game also reinforces the theme of the game that you're making. So Exploding Kitten has cards that also reinforces this sort of particular theme. One thing also you have to think about, like you have like a Alice in Wonderland kind of theme, right? So how is your theme helping you to reinforce your game mechanics also? I will now bring it back to Balatro. Balatro has cards, and Balatro is based on poker, right?
mm-hmm.
What's poker associated with? Gambling,
Gambling.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So high scores, right? So scoring the high
Mm-hmm.
scores. So a lot. So it's not an accident. Balatro is built around that kind of feeling. Like like even the sound design of Balatro feels very like casino, very gambly kind of
Mm-hmm.
feeling, right? I think you want to think about like having your game's themes as something that is like very how to say reinforces your game rules,
Mm-hmm.
reinforces that helps the player get immersed even more. And I
Mm-hmm.
think like the game Exploding Kitten especially does this very well. They really rely on the theming to get people to buy in, and also the artist is very popular. Oatmeal, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
very
Yeah.
popular. Yeah, the art style is very associated, so a lot of people relate to that. So I think like the theming of a game also is something that you can think about like to sort of like help
Mm-hmm.
players to get to buy in a bit, because theme is also part of here. It's actually one of the
Yeah.
components here. All right. So I've gone through the sort of like a rough analysis of your game. The next thing I'm going into is what direction you can go. So at this point in time, do you have any other questions for me so far?
At this moment, not as much. But if you don't mind, we go back up to the strategy part
Yep.
because sometimes I see a lot of players
Mm.
still. The turns sometimes did get them into a corner that they see based on the current stage
Mm.
they can't keep drawing already. They don't
Ah.
want to risk it anyway, but so they bank in. So I do see this kind of behavior
Mm.
happening. So but at the same time, I also see where you're coming from when if everybody just stack one deck and one deck is enough to win the game. But I think this is something I have to figure it out.
Yep.
What's the
Yep.
issue with it? Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I'll give you some guidelines. I'll give you some solutions, which is
Mhm.
which is coming up next. I think one thing about this game right now is there's a lot of different mechanics, but they come from different places that might not gel with one another. Balatro's scoring system is based on poker, right? But your scoring system is a little bit arbitrary. It's like there's
Yeah.
multipliers, there's plus, but it's not really
Yes.
based on anything. And how does poker help? You're getting two of a kind, three of a kind, flush, straight. All of this has its own multipliers, and
Yep.
the deck you build reinforces that. You are multiplying. Okay, so it's like saying like, okay, if you get even numbers, the even numbers gets multiplied. So then it makes you think: Do I want to build a deck of
Any
pairs,
odd number.
or three of a kinds, or four of a kinds? Because that helps with the multiplier of the same getting even numbers. Like what if I
Hmm.
make my all of my deck twos? Like would that add to the multiplier? So the multiplier is based on poker, and the
Hmm.
reason why that game draws you in is because the poker rules reinforces that scoring
Yeah.
system. So if you
Yeah.
take the scoring system from Balatro and put it in your game, suddenly it's like, well, the poker base is not there anymore. Then it just becomes multiplier and additions that doesn't really add on to that, like doesn't really reinforce your game in any meaningful way, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. Drawing the bomb from the Exploding Kittens deck, you're also taking you're taking the element, but you're also leaving behind the social element of the game. So now it becomes
Hmm.
like when I draw a bomb, but I cannot stop it, I cannot defuse it, I cannot pass it along, I cannot stack it. Now,
Hmm.
what does the drawing of the bomb means in that sense? Like it feels like the mechanic now exists on its own, but there's no other thing to latch onto it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's why I say game mechanics are systems. They're not like one piece of think that you can just take from another game. I mean, you can, but you might find yourself like you need to compensate for it. Yeah,
Mm.
if I take the scoring system from Balatro, but I'm not using the poker system, what system am I basing it on? That's what I mean. Lah. I hope this
Mm,
makes
mm.
sense to you.
Yeah, I mean, personally, part of the issue I have with my scoring system is after I have multiple stacks of bonuses,
Mm.
buffs, I don't really know which card actually give me how many points anymore.
Mm,
This is
mm.
one of the things I can't really
Yeah.
solve yet.
Yeah. And Balatro, it makes sense, right? Like once you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So you really can grind the gears are already grinding already. Like once you know that okay, like you like there's I remember there's this one Joker where it's like odd or even numbers. You already have in your mind is odd numbers, even numbers. Or how do I build my deck in the future? Your gear already start
Mm,
churning already,
mm,
right?
mm.
So now the score becomes something that you can aim for. In
Mhm,
that
mhm.
game. Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
Do you have any other questions for the current game mechanics?
No, no. So far, everything is clear. I think there's like you giving
Ah,
me some good tips on how to build strategy in the games and things like that.
ah. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So, do you recognize this game?
Yeah, it's my super.
Minesweeper. Everyone knows Minesweeper. So, I want to talk about this one thing. The enjoyment of the game scales with its design space. A game with simple mechanics and simple rules can be fun if the scope is scaled accordingly. Now, is Minesweeper a very deep game?
Not
Yeah,
really.
not really, right? Is Minesweeper a very complex game? Not really, right? But Minesweeper, I would say it's a complete experience because everything about Minesweeper is scaled according to its design space. So sometimes right, it's very easy for us to go way over our heads because like I want to make a game like Balatro, right? But you have to consider Balatro is made by a industry veteran, and it's a very polished game that probably take years and years and years to make.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to achieve that kind of game in a game jam, it might be a bit of a stretch, even for veterans, even for people who's made games for many many years. So you want to think about when you make a game, right? Don't be afraid of scoping your game accordingly. If you make a game for a game jam, you don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of resources. Don't be afraid to scale everything accordingly because even though you make a simple game, and even if your game is not really as fun as Balatro or as fun as Exploding Kitten, don't worry about it because once your game is complete, people will find the fun in it. People will discover the fun in it. All right. So the reason why I picked Minesweeper is because your game has elements of like when I play your game, right? It reminds me of Minesweeper. Minesweeper has this element of chance in it where it's like okay, where is this bomb? And just I have to like close my eye, randomly pick one, and then take it from there, right? There's some points of the game it makes you feel like that, like I'm taking a chance here, I'm taking a risk here, and Minesweeper has the element. Now, I'm not saying that your game should be like Minesweeper, but I'm going to compare your game and Minesweeper to show you what do I mean by the design space. Okay? So, like Minesweeper, right? The tension of drawing from your deck feels quite similar. Let's say, these three boxes, right? Oh, which one has the bomb? You know? Now, I want to go back to this model here, right? Decisions, oppositions, rules, and goals, or whatnot. Now, when it comes to making Minesweepers, you might think like, oh, this game is all about luck, right? Like I'm just clicking, I'm just trying to figure out like where the bomb is. But Minesweeper has a kind of logic behind it, right? The numbers of the of on the grid tells you where the mines are. One means that in the immediate grid around the box, around the grid itself, there is a mine. So there's one mine. That means like there's one mine either left, right, top, bottom, horizontal. This enforces players to figure out. Wait a minute. I think I can figure out where the mines are if I deduce the based on the numbers that I'm given. So like if I'm looking at these three boxes, right, where is the mine? The clues are all here. There's one here, there's two here, there's four here. So it's sort of like give you an opportunity to make meaningful decisions from here on out. So there is a missing decision because like if I pick the wrong one, I'm gone. That's it. The game ends. But if I pick the right one, it gives him more clues, right? It gives him more information to make better decision. It gives him more information to make better decision. And over time, of course, people have developed strategies for Minesweepers, right? Because Minesweeper is a very logic-based game. People just math the hell out of it, right? so,
Mhm, mhm,
so they just math the hell out of it. Just pure statistics, pure math. You can figure out. You can solve Minesweeper very easily. Okay.
mhm,
So now Minesweeper is a game that is based on a little bit of luck and a lot of logic. Is it a very fun game if the game is just based pure on logic? Well, there are a lot of popular games that are just pure logic. Sudoku is based on a pure logic, right? It's this is the kind of game where people will like, I'm just trying to solve like a math problem here, and
Yeah.
the game is scaled accordingly to that. Okay, so while luck is a factor, it depends. Eventually, players would figure out how to solve the mind based on this. Okay, so now I'm gonna compare. I'm gonna compare this one, right? How do we win? What is the goal of Minesweeper? Okay, what is the goal? Is to find all the
So,
mines in the grid, correct? To
yep.
figure out
Yep.
where the. But there is another way to score Minesweeper. And do you know what that is?
Another way to score Minesweeper
Okay,
is
so
the
maybe not another
least
way.
count.
Do you know how Minesweeper is scored?
Oh, I
Ah,
don't remember. Is it
ah,
by amount of finding amount of safe space?
no, it's by time.
Oh,
So
oh,
yeah, so you see, there's two numbers
oh
here, right?
yeah.
So there is so the one number is show how many mines there is. The other one is a timer that counts up. So the goal of Minesweeper is to find as many mines to find all the mines as fast as possible. And do you know why they use time as a limit?
Because it's a complete game.
Yes,
It's a
it's a math
mathable
game.
game.
Yeah, it's a mathable game. So a mathable game is scored by using time limit because there's no other way to. You cannot give them multipliers. You cannot give it, oh, you find this you find this safe space, you score 1 point, 2 points, whatever. It just doesn't make sense because it's a solvable
Mm,
equation, right? And how do
yeah.
you judge how fast a player can solve a math question? It's just by time. If you were to try to give a challenge to a math challenge to somebody, there's no other way because there's no other answers to math. There's only one answer, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to find all the grid as fast as possible. And then how do you what is your decisions? First by luck because you had to tembak, right? And then the other one
Hmm.
is
Based on
deduction
math.
based on math, correct? So what is your opposition? Logic. The fact that you only have one chance, so that means you cannot make any errors because it's math, right? You cannot make
Hmm.
any errors because it's solvable, and time. And how do
Hmm.
Minesweepers players compete with one another? They challenge themselves through time. I can solve this grid in how fast. I can solve this grid in how fast. So that's how they scale, right? So you see, right now you think about Minesweeper as a complete experience. You start to think like, wow, it's actually very tight, very nicely fit within the design space. There is a limited grid, there is a solvable equation, and there is a time limit. And it all fits. Once you start to add theme to it, because the what's the theme of the game? I'm trying to look for mines, right? Then it suddenly, if you think about this model, suddenly everything just snaps together really nicely, right? Like I mentioned, is Minesweeper a fun game compared to Balatro? Not really, but Minesweeper is a very complete experience. It's very tight. Everything fits where it needs to be. There's no mechanics that is like there's no unnecessary mechanics added, but everything that you need to test the players is all already there. When you make a game, you want to think of it like that. Don't try to aim too high, Balatro. Not to say that you shouldn't do that, but when you want to scope your game, you think about the design space, right? What is the design space of the Minesweeper? It's the grid. The grid is the design space. It's like grid, and then you put all the put as many mines as you want. That's how you scale also, and then time. Everything is right there already. Yep. So now if you compare your game, so the goal of your game, right, is to beat the increasing scores of the rounds. Of course, you need luck, but also you need like to sort of figure out the optimal score. You have to figure out like what's the optimal score to bomb ratio that you have to think about. But the thing is that your turns, your deck sizes, and your score melee doesn't really play well with the scores because your score is, I would say, the score is determined by the limitation set in how many decks you have and how many cards you have. But because the numbers are not adjusted accordingly, the solution becomes very, very like vague. Then you get this problem where it's like, you get this problem where the scores don't really help the decision making because it's like the space in between your game, between the goal and the your win
Points you
yeah,
gain.
yeah, it's so murky.
So
It's
wait.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
vague and
Can't
murky.
really.
Yeah. Whereas in Minesweeper, it's like it's all there already. It's all very tight already. Nothing too much, but nothing too little also. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's scoped around well. All right. So so your opposition also becomes very weak because there's too many turns. The score threshold is actually very low. Like it's very easy to score the threshold personally. Then it feels like the risk and agency is not really there anymore. Yeah. So like in Minesweeper, right? Because the risk is so high, right? You only get one chance. The cost of your game is time. Do I,
Mhm.
do I want to properly math this out so that I can know what to pick, or do I have to like memorize all the patterns so I can like, okay, this one I know where the bomb is because I've seen this pattern before. Yeah.
Mm.
So you want to scale. So your game is scoped in a way. There's a lot of mechanics that is like scoped quite high. Scoring is a very, to add scoring system into your game, you have to then build the scoring systems to sort of match the goals that you set for yourself. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Okay. All right.
Okay.
This is just what I'm trying to show here. I don't know if this model will help you or not, but personally, like if you feel like you're kind of not really sure where to take your game towards, I hope this Minesweeper comparison helps to frame the kind of decisions that you want to make.
Mm.
The game that you want to make in the future, or maybe this game, the where you want to adjust your game, you have to think about how to scope it accordingly lah. Now I can put Balatros one here, but Balatro is a very complex game, and I feel like
Too much to
yeah
write on.
yeah just it's gonna be another hour just to talk about Balatro, but hopefully this model helps to frame where you're gonna go in the future lah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think yeah, it helps lah with a small model like this. It
Mm, mm,
really does help. Like even we talk through this, I think the best way to for this game for this my particular game
mm,
is just remove the point system.
mm,
Just
mm.
maybe convert it into how many cards you need to draw before
Yeah.
you move on to the next stage. So it avoids those mathematics. At least most of those mathematics.
Mm.
The actual physical card is more easier to grasp on instead of the point system.
Yep.
Oh. Mhm.
Also, I feel because exploding kittens is sort of like a lot of the game elements also draws from exploding kittens. I don't know if you want to do like some sort of deck manipulation. Like to see like just to give you a
Yeah,
vague idea. To say, oh, the bomb is around here. Like do you still want to go for it? That kind of thing. Like
I
maybe
thought
that's
of
another
that.
way. Yeah, yeah.
I thought of that, but I know that I do not have enough time to implement all those things, so I've
Yeah,
stripped it
no
down
worries.
bare minimum to math only.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, I see. Well, I'll let you decide because you can go for the more a bit more like casual like really simple, or you want to go for pure math, which is like something like Minesweeper, where it's like there's a solvable answer somewhere, you just gotta figure it out. Yeah, I don't know where you want to take this, but hopefully this helps lah. Because really I feel like a lot of elements reminds me of Minesweeper, and I think like if you scope it, something like this, maybe there's an experience to be had here. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think yeah, this is my first time thinking about it as in terms
Ah,
of Minesweeper.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I think if not Minesweeper, but at least hopefully this model
Yes,
will
this
help.
model.
Yeah, yeah. This model will help because to consider about this model also is that your game has all the components. It's all there, but you need to
It doesn't fit
pack it.
together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You need to pack it like just nice. The better you pack it, the better your game is. Yeah, because if one blows up too much, then it breaks the model already. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Although you can go through the motions, it doesn't feel like it's meaningful. It doesn't feel
mm,
impactful. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Mm. Okay.
Sorry, I'm not sure what other question I have, but one thing I do
Mm.
interested is this model, is this from a book or something?
Oh, this okay. So a very common model. Let me try to find. So there's this called the MD framework, which is like a very common game design framework that people use academically. But this is something that is debated on and adapted and so on. So if you want to read more about it, this is where I would start. But a lot of
Mm,
the how games are broken down, they're derived from this base structure. This particular
mm.
model, I got it from Riot Games actually. Riot Games, there is
Oh, okay.
there's a handbook somewhere that I found that has this illustration, and I thought this was very good, and I just stole it from there. Yeah, if I remember where to find it, I can share with you. But I got it from a Riot Games handbook actually. Yeah, I think this is something that they use in their exercises or game design exercises. Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
It does really helps from a different perspective
Mm, mm,
how my game looks like. It's
mm,
really refreshing to see what you compare it with Minesweeper that I never think of it.
mm,
But
mm.
it does express the You know how some games are just mathable, and the only things you can limit the player is to time them.
Yep, yep,
So yeah,
yep.
yeah, it really helps. But yeah, to be honest, right now after listening to it, I'm not sure how to take it on my game,
Mm-hmm.
whether I further develop it or not.
Yep.
But really, thank you for taking up the coaching session on such a simple game jam games.
Yeah, no, no worries, no worries. Because I think whenever people want to learn game development, I feel like I'm very passionate about it, lah. As long as people want to learn, I'm always happy to sort of explore, no matter how small or how simple. I think for me, right, to be able to make a game is, again, it's not easy to make a game that is like fun and people will enjoy. And sometimes people take for granted games that are simple, you know, there is some enjoyment to have from it. Like back in the day, right? Minesweeper is one of the only games that you can play. Yeah, one of the only games you can play, and people find enjoyment in that, right? But even people to now, you know what people are doing? They're min maxing it. They're just like, can you win this in 30 seconds? You know, like that kind of level. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and people find enjoyment in that. People find enjoyment in playing logic-based games like Sudoku, right? Because
Yes,
everything,
yes.
because all of this is scoped just nice already. It's like just nice within its scope. It's not trying to be too big. It's not trying to be too small. It's just the right size on what it needs to be. Yeah. So I think being a good game developer is to be able to figure this out, as efficiently as possible. And even to this day, I feel like I'm, like this is something that I think is quite difficult. I struggle with it personally as I make games of different sizes. It's harder and harder to judge. The more I make the same game over again, it's very easy. I can just like I straight away know already. But when I'm approaching a new game, it's always learning all from the start again. But
Mhm.
I'm always trying to compare this structure with with the kind of game that I'm making, so that it just helps me to make better decisions in the future. Mm,
Mm,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I'm not sure how to
yeah, no
move on
worries.
from here.
I mean, I tell you what. If you got more questions, just email me if you want. If
All right.
if if it becomes like a bit more complex, just submit another submission, and we can just talk through again if you want. Like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, you can, if mechanic ideas, or you want like like a third, like a, how to say,
Second
yeah,
opinion,
second
third opinion.
opinion. You can just talk to me. You can just send me an email anytime. I'm free to help whenever I can. So don't be afraid. This is not one and done lah. You can always
Thank
approach me
you.
again. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was working on the global game jam, but halfway through I have to drop out again
Oh
because of the issue.
no.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. I mean, there are tons of game jams happening all the time. So don't be discouraged lah. Yeah. Although global game jam is one of the biggest ones.
yeah,
It's always around next year. There's always some other game jam. There's always Brackies. There's always Game
mhm,
Maker's Toolkit. There's always a
yeah.
game jam happening somewhere in the world. So don't get discouraged lah.
Not to say discouraged, but yeah, I'm still developing something that I think I want to.
mm,
It's another project, but I think I want to further expand on it.
yep.
But we'll see how. We'll see how.
Yeah.
Probably not that soon because work and stuff.
Yep, of
No,
course. Okay, cool. Do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I think we're good.
no, not really. Maybe later when I start working on it
Mm.
again. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you so much. Okay, I hope to hear from you again soon, lah. If you're curious
All
about
right.
it. Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy, for this section. Is never thought that you will actually take the time to coach me on this, but really thank you. It's an experience. It's an experience.
No worries, no worries. All right.